Our next guest is Sports Hamilton. Formal name, Robert Hamilton, who has gone by Sports as long as I know. I don't know where you got that name, Sports.
In Florida. You want to hear the story?
I do.
A group of us young men were going to Florida. I guess I was probably 17. And I told everybody, because I'd never been out of Washington County, about this big trip that I got, that we're going to Florida. And at the last minute, they all backed out. So I said, foot on it. I'm going. I had a cousin in Miami that lived in a little trailer that was about the size of a double-door refrigerator. So I go down there, and it takes me like 3-4 days to get down there. Don't have interstates now. You have to understand that.
Oh.
So I get down there and stay with him 2 or 3 days in this little double-door refrigerator, and I see that's not for me, and I decide that I'm coming back to Springfield. So I want to get a souvenir to bring back. And I stop at a little souvenir place, and these two gentlemen are doing the shell game.
The shell game?
Yeah, with the pea. Where you pick where the pea is underneath the shell. So I come in the door, and I'm looking pretty prosperous. I guess the guy said, Sport, come on in here and play this game with us. And I'm losing a fortune. They're betting on it. And he's betting $20, which was a lot of money back then.
Heck yes.
And he loses 2 or 3, and he looks at me and he said, Sport, you're young and you got good eyes. Said, show me where that pea is. Well, Ray Charles could have seen where the pea was, and I just said it's right there. Well, he took the pea up. There it was. So he wins $20. He gives me $5. We start this game, and pretty soon I got $50 or $60 that he has given me. So then he says, Sport said, I'm winning all this money. Said, I don't know why you don't get involved with this too. So I start betting. In no time at all, I have lost this $50. Plus the $90 that I had to come back home on.
Oh.
And I have no money. So I walk out and I'm sitting there in my car and I'm wondering, what in the world am I going to do? You don't have credit cards. You don't have cell phones. None of this stuff. And while I'm sitting there, he comes out there and he says, where are you from? And I said, Kentucky. He said, how much money you got left? I said, oh, probably 45 cents, somewhere along in there. He said, how you going to get home? I said, I don't have any idea at all. He counts me out my $90 exactly and gives it to me and says, Sport, you go back to where you come from and stay there. So that's where it came from.
And thereafter,
I'm Sports.
You're Sport.
Which works
Sports.
Okay.
I think, doesn't it have an S on the
end?
Could
doesn't matter.
Sport or Sports?
Either way.
Okay.
Either way. But that's where
and that's how you got your name?
That's where it came from.
What year was that?
Whoa, it was back in the late 40s.
Okay. So.
A long time ago.
Oh my, well I'm glad you made it back home.
Me too.
Because you were born and raised in Washington County and you have ancestors here.
Lots of them.
I don't know how far back the founding of Springfield in Washington County, I suppose. Your ancestors?
Oh yes, they come down. Of course the whole crowd came from Maryland.
Mm-hmm.
And my understanding is part of them went on to Nashville, Tennessee, the Hamiltons, and got into the banking business. And the rest of them stayed here, become farmers, the biggest part of them did.
Mm-hmm.
I guess all of them did originally.
Mm-hmm.
And that's pretty much all I know about that end of it, really.
Mm-hmm. So, yes, I know there are a lot of Hamilton farmers in this county. And you... did you start out farming here, or?
It was not my intention to be a farmer. But then World War II came along, and I had 3 brothers that was drafted into the Army in World War II, so it left an older brother and myself there on a 300-some acre farm.
Was that at St. Rose?
Yes, yeah, down the St. Rose section. So till all this was going on, I was a farmer.
Okay.
But then, as soon as that was over, my uncle came along and he built the Lebanon Drive-In Theater, and I mixed the mortar. That was my claim to fame. I guess that was probably the first job I ever had, really. And it was right funny. He showed me how to lay block, or was showing me. And back then, a block layer probably got 20 cents a block, and I was making like $12 a day or something. And I thought 20 cents a block would be better. So he was going to town one day, and I laid this part of this wall out there. He was building my mother's house at that particular time. And I was kind of proud of it. He did not tell me to do this. So he comes back, and he wants to know what I've been doing. I said, look at this. And I leaned back against this wall that I just had laid, and it fell over. So that was the end of my instructions on block laying. He wouldn't let me lay any more block.
And that was your mother's house?
Yes.
A new house your mother was building on the farm.
Mm-hmm.
And so what'd you do from there?
Somewhere along the line, I bought a little milk route. Had a pickup truck, and I don't know, I had 10 or 12 customers. You hauled canned milk back in those days. And strangely enough, nobody had milk coolers even. You dug a hole in the ground and put a barrel in there and filled it up with water and set your cans down in there.
Wow.
And all these things were in the backyard. And needless to say, that's quite a walk to carry a 100-pound can of milk out of there all the way out to the truck. But anyway, you get used to it and you don't pay attention to it. So I did that for until I was drafted into the Army, doing the Korean thing, which I was kind of looking forward to. Other than the Florida trip, I'd never been out of Washington County, so a lot of people were sweating, worrying about going to Korea and all that kind of stuff. But when you're 21 years old, you're bulletproof anyway, so you don't worry about that. See, but I was lucky enough to go to Germany, which I really enjoyed, and France. I was over in France for a long time.
Did you have to serve? I hope you weren't in combat.
No. This was, we talking Korea.
Okay, so right, so you.
So wasn't much going on over there.
Yeah, so you got to be in France and Germany and. Really had a good time. I was in a Signal Corps and went to school to be a photographer repair person, and went over there and drove a bus. That's all I did while I was over there. I think I had 6 kids and all officers around and stuff like that. So really it was good. So I come back and I got back in the milk hauling business again, and a milk route down in Nelson County. Matter of fact, down where my daughter lives now. And matter of fact, the fellow lives right down the road that I used to haul milk for. Oh my gosh!
Needless to say, he's up in his years pretty good.
And so you had that milk route. You picked it up off of the from the farmers.
That was still canned milk.
Okay.
And I did that for, I don't know, probably 3, 4, 5 years. And I happened to run into somebody from Dean Foods, and they was wanting to start up a tank mill, bulk tanks. And nobody had ever heard of that in this part of the country. So one thing led to another, and I buy one of these big fancy stainless steel trucks. It cost $10,000, what you buy a farm for that back then. And it was sitting out in front of my mother's house, and my older brother come by and he slammed on his brakes and he come running in there and said, "My God, what have you done now?" and he just couldn't, he just thought I was going crazy, which it did look a little crazy, but anyway. Anyway, it worked out okay.
Yeah, so you had that big tanker that you took around to the farms and
Instead
got
of the cans.
Yeah.
Got rid of the cans.
And you didn't have to haul it, you just
pumped it
in there.
Yeah, it was quite a deal.
Yeah.
Still is, really. They still do that, of course.
Right.
But
and then after that, you got into, I think you did that for many years, didn't you?
40 plus, yeah.
Wow.
Long time. So after I got into that, I got hooked up with Jim Fields and his Porter John thing for a couple of years. And as a matter of fact, I was director of special events. And when I got into that, I got hooked up with Jim Fields and his Porter John thing for a couple of years. And as a matter of fact, I was director of special events. And But I did the grunt work just like everybody else did. I mean, he just gave me that title. It didn't mean
He had to do everything anyway. But you set those up, the porta-johns, at all these fancy events around the state.
Yeah, we did a lot of parties at horse barns, horse farms, and special events, festivals and fairs and all that. I did a lot of stuff up to the horse park, and I'm seeing all these vendors, and they look like they're having fun, and they're helping each other, and just I just look like they make a little money too, you know. So after helping him for a couple of years, I thought, well, time for me to move on. So I buys me a little trailer, and I go into the ice cream business. And I find out that these people maybe wasn't exactly as happy as I thought they were. But most time was okay. Most time was okay. And it's just for a weekend, so what the heck? Doesn't last that long.
You've been doing that how long now?
Pretty close to 20 years, probably.
I can't believe it. Well, you know that everyone in Washington County looks forward to Sorghum Festival, which we're back to that name I'm happy about, to the Sorghum Festival, to your booth, to your, to get funnel cakes, bloomin' onions. No.
Well, we used to.
You did have bloomin' onions for a while.
Sometime.
And, of course, your
Polish sausage.
Polish. I always have to have a Polish sausage.
My wife fixes my Polish sausage. Of course, Karen and Mary Lou they're the wheel deals of the funnel cakes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And everybody has to have at least one of those during the festival.
Doesn't hurt anything.
And at least one Polish sausage. And then the potato.
Butterfly potatoes.
Butterfly potatoes.
That used to be really a great thing. When they first came out, I thought that's the craziest thing I ever saw. And if it's cold, it's still okay.
Yeah.
But people, you don't care for them if it's warm weather. You don't really.
No. Well, I don't know. I like them, but you do a real service for that, and you go to all the festivals around. I know you go to Danville, and do you do the Lebanon ham
Sometimes
days?
I have done some of them. I used to do. I've kind of scaled down somewhat. Don't do as many as I used to. I used to go as far as Pikeville.
Oh my!
And as far as Kentucky Lake, in that direction. And I did one at Ashland one time, and that was the strangest thing. No-show George Jones was going to be there. And I thought, this will be the greatest thing in the world. So I go up there. Of course, that's a pretty good hike from here. This was out the edge of the Ashland. It wasn't down in town. And they had probably an area of a half a mile or something blocked off around where the stage and all this is going to be for all these people that's going to come in. Well, No-Show George showed up, but nobody else did. There was not 100 people there.
Oh my gosh!
I don't know I never did find out what the problem was with that deal. Whether they got the dates mixed up or what, but no one was there. I didn't stay about an hour.
But you got to see George Jones.
Got to see George Jones.
I bet through the course of attending some of these events around the state, you've gotten to see some pretty neat things.
Oh, it's really, really. I used to go up at Carrollton, which had a 3-day event, and it was kind of an unusual thing. That was beside where my stop, I was going by myself when I went out of town, and I always go by myself. And beside of me was this couple that had a 4-H booth, and had this little girl with them, their daughter, who was, I don't know, 8 years old or something. But she could make change like crazy because she'd been with their parents and all that. So she gets to helping me. So every year I went up there, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 years probably. She would always be there, and she would take care of the window, which was a super deal. Well, I quit going up there, and probably, I don't know, 10, 15 years later, I'm going through Carrollton, and we stopped up there at a steak place to have lunch. And this young lady come over there and said, "You don't know who I am." And I said, I don't have a clue who you are. She said, I'm the young lady that you taught how to sell stuff. So she was the one that did changes. She was the manager of that restaurant.
Oh.
So I always like to think I had a little something to do with that.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, you've obviously had a lot to do with our festival, and as a result of that, you were honored at the chamber banquet as the hall and inducted into the Springfield, Washington County Chamber Hall of Fame.
That was quite the thing.
Yes.
Yes.
And as a result of that, there'll be a brick placed on at the courthouse, by the courthouse on the sidewalk there with your name on it and the year you were inducted into the Hall of Fame.
That was really a surprise. I go down there to this. I'm going to have dinner, of course, but I'm going to see my son perform.
Yeah. Your grandson.
My grandson, I said son.
Yeah.
My grandson performed.
Was going to sing.
Yeah.
Or at least that's what they told you.
Well, he was there, but he never did perform, but I get a brick out of it, so it worked out okay.
That's how they got you there.
Yeah, really. It was a fun thing.
Yeah. Well, that's quite an honor, and but that's because of your dedication to the festival.
Well, it's been awful nice to me, really.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're a part of the chamber, and you've always been supportive of the community.
Well, small town, you know.
Yeah. And all your family's here. This is where you met your wife.
She worked at the cheese factory, the Hall Milk down there.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's where all that came about.
And so that's where you met her, and you married. You've been married how many years?
56, I believe, is the right number on that.
50. You better be right on that, sports.
It would be good if I...
Yeah, be good. And you have how many children? Let's see, two girls and 3 boys.
Yes.
And you have your daughter Inez right here in this county in Springfield, a teacher at St. Dominic.
Mm-hmm.
And you have your son Mark, who is a priest.
At St. Martha's in Louisville, who's on his way to Rome as we speak.
Oh, well, that's exciting.
Yeah.
And then you have your daughter Becky, who's a teacher in Bardstown, who's adopted 4 children.
Mm-hmm.
And a son Rob in
Chicago,
and then Matt,
who is in Maryland.
Right. So
Rob is commodity brokers, and Matt's in chickens.
Chickens.
All kinds of chickens. Thousands of chickens.
Owns a...
He's sales manager for Allen Chicken Company, I think.
Okay.
He was telling me a week or 2 ago, I believe he said they use a complete trainload of corn every 12 days, I believe. That company does. That's a lot of corn.
So you're still doing your booth. I mean, but you have an opportunity to go visit them.
Yes, some.
Mm-hmm.
Rob comes down real often. We've been up to Maryland a time or 2. But the hassle going up there, you got to almost go through Washington.
Mm-hmm.
And not very pleasant, you know. A lot of traffic.
A lot of traffic. Yeah. But so you're enjoying your time, and so you've cut back on some of the festivals, but you're going to continue with the Sorghum Festival.
Yes.
Okay, and Reba helps you with that as well.
She's the boss.
She's the boss.
She's
a hard worker.
When we're in Springfield. When I'm out of town, I'm my own boss.
Okay. Well, I just want to thank you for all the work that you've done for the county, and I want to congratulate you on your award.
Thank you very much.
And you're quite an asset to Washington County, and I hope you'll, and I know you're still active in the Knights of Columbus. I was just talking about Hamilton. Now, with Hamilton, now that he's retired, he can spend a little more time with the Knights of Columbus.
True, yes.
So you'll have to get on him about that, but you're very active with that.
We're looking forward to the fish fries now we're having.
That's right.
Yeah.
So I told him I'd see him maybe at the fish fry Friday night.
Good deal for that.
And you're still active. You and Reba with St. Dominic Church, and you help out there. And is there anything I'm missing?
Well, I'm still a bird hunter.
A bird hunter?
Yes.
Well, good. Now that I didn't know.
I'll tell you one story about bird hunting.
Okay.
I was lucky enough to grow up during the days when we had a lot of hunting things, rabbits and quail and all that. Here, and then after that kind of after the 70s, that kind of went south with that. So I started going to Mississippi with a group of people like George Wharton, Jim Ballard, and Paul Hamilton. Doc Saccone, I think, went a time or two. And Carol Tatum from Old Lebanon, and McElroy Crawford, and old gentleman H.P. Morancy from over there, who was probably one of the funniest people that I have ever met. He went down there with me 1 year, and he and I were hunting together, and we were a little short on bird dogs, so we were way back down in the country there at Albany, Mississippi, and we saw this bird dog behind this old country store down there. So he said, let's stop here. So we might borrow this bird dog here. So I said, man, ain't nobody going to lend you no bird dog. Well, he said, you never know. So anyway, we stopped there and go and have a bologna sandwich and an R.C. Cola and a moon pie. And he's talking to this lady, and he's telling her jokes and asking her about this bird dog. And she said, well, I don't know. Said, my husband sent that bird dog off for 6 months. Said he cost a fortune. Said he thinks a lot of that bird dog. So they keep on, and finally the lady said, don't you need another one of them bologna sandwiches? He said, yeah, I think we need 2 more. So we get 2 more sandwiches, and he said, well, how about a half a dozen of them moon pies? Okay, got them right here. He said, now how about that bird dog? She said, well, I'm going to tell you what. Said, if you take that bird dog, but you have him back here before 5 o'clock. Said, that's the only thing. So we went out there with a box of moon pies, and I don't know how many bologna sandwiches, and a bird dog, which was a good one. But he was a character at H.P. Morancy. He was really funny.
Oh, that's great. That's a great story. And did you get a lot of birds that day?
We did.
With that bird dog?
We did.
And you got him back on time?
And we got him back on time.
And so you still bird hunt?
Still bird hunting. Go
Good.
to Kansas. My son and I go to Kansas. They still got birds down there. And I run in field trials, which I used to win some trophies back in my younger days. But it's been so long since I won one now that a lot of people come because they know sooner or later I'm going to win. But it hadn't happened yet.
Hadn't happened yet? It will.
No.
Well, good luck to you, Hamilton.
Thank you very much.
I mean,
Thank
sports. Listen to me.
Very good.
Sports Hamilton. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lisa.